Calgon, take me away. Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be a tag video, and it's actually kind of a tag mashup. So recently I was tagged by Tara Michelle to do a video called Scent Your Heart Out. And it's like pulling out one perfume and kind of, it's a play on words. What is the real way to say it? Is it like cry your heart out or tear your heart out? Where you kind of get a little bit personal about a perfume and talk about a set memory attached to it. So Karina Waldron started a most memorable perfume tag, and then MJ did it and tagged me in it. So I decided to just kind of mesh them together. So this is for all three girls. Karina, who started her tag, Tara, who started hers, and then MJ, who tagged me in this one. I think that covers everything. Now, I did do a video similar to this one about a year ago where I broke up with 5 perfumes and I kind of go over the scent memories with those. I just didn't have like a catchy title at the time. But I will link that video below because those were 5 perfumes that maybe they're attached to a boyfriend or someone I knew and passed away. So I'll have that video linked down below because these are going to be different perfumes. I believe I have like 8 or 9 to go over. So there is one that I picked up this morning and it was a mission, and I haven't smelled this well, it's not a perfume, it's a fragrance mist, but this scent I kind of wanted to do a little on camera. Is it going to transport me back in time? But this is Morning Glory by Calgon, and this scent me and my cousins all used to wear when we worked at Publix, and then it ended up becoming my cousin Jessica's like signature scent. Like she wore it even years later, and this used to get compliments all the time when we would wear it. She would get compliments on it. Then her daughter started wearing it like in middle school and high school. So I want to see, because it's been a while, like I used to wear this 20 years ago. And even though she stayed using it, she stopped about 10 years ago. So it's definitely something I haven't smelled for at least a decade. But we're going to do it here on camera. I've been hunting this down. I had to do a very far Walmart pickup just to get my hands on this scent. And this isn't the way the bottle looked like. If I find a picture, I'll pop it in. But this is like an updated version. Calgon, take me away. Ooh, I'm getting emotional. I don't mean to get emotional, but this is a scent. We burned this scent out when we worked at Publix. But this was a mist that they sold at Publix. And once we got our hands on it, it was like the scent to wear. So this is one that just reminds me of being in high school. 16, I started working with her and my other cousins. So this definitely takes me back. I wasn't sure if it would, but Calgon definitely took me away. I'll tell you that right now. Again, that is Morning Glory by Calgon. So this one is even older, but this isn't a scent that I wore. And once I picked this perfume up and sprayed it, I was transported to Connecticut. And that is Angel, the Eau de Parfum, and this is by Mugler. And this is a perfume that reminds me of my last year in Connecticut. When I think when this perfume was released. So this is a perfume that I just remember, like, I want to say my godmother, that older cool aunt, that's who used to wear it. It could be several aunts that I have. But I know whenever we went to any kind of like Christmas event or any kind of party, because my parents used to do a lot of partying, and as Hispanics, they take their kids. I remember smelling this. I used to hear in the perfume community, you're either an angel girl or an alien girl. And I had already hauled alien. So I got a set that came with alien, angel, and angel muse. And as soon as I sprayed it, I knew the scent. I was very familiar with it. And I went out and I immediately picked up the star. This is a scent that even my sister, when I sprayed it for her, she was like, oh, that reminds me of like up north. So definitely something that, again, our last year that's when this scent came out, and it must have been very popular because even when she smelled it, she says it's very nostalgic to her. So wasn't something I wore growing up, but something I've smelled. I believe this came out in 92. So very nostalgic to me. I don't know who used to wear it, but this is another one that took me back in time. And again, that is Angel de Eau de Parfum. Okay, so then my early 20s. This is a perfume that I would smell when I worked at Publix, because I worked at Publix for 8 years. Publix got me through high school and college. And this is a smell that I would smell on women that would come through my line. And I'd be like, what are you wearing? And they would say Coco. Coco Mademoiselle. So this was my first like expensive perfume buy. I would always lust over it. I would always smell it on women, you know, when they would come through my line at Publix. And then one day, JCPenney's was like getting rid of their perfume department. And they had, it was an older bottle. I don't know if it was Eau de Parfum or the Eau de Toilette, but it was like a tall bottle with a white cap. And it came with that and the lotion. And it was like half off. So I picked it up and I had my first like expensive perfume. But every time I wore it, it would give me a massive headache. And I do feel like back in the day, because this is still a projection monster, it's still a great performer, but I feel like back in the day, because this was probably like 15 years ago, it was ridiculous. Like I'd spray this and it would last 4 days. I would even spray it and take a shower to see if that would help, but I couldn't. So sadly, I gave it away. But I always remember this scent. And I would always lust over people who would wear it. And when I would go to the store or the grocery store, because this is a very popular scent, I'd always smell it. I'd always smell it around the holidays, like at department stores. And it's one that I knew one day I wanted to add back into my collection. And then eventually I did, and it doesn't give me headaches anymore. I also don't think it was the beast that it used to be 15 years ago. But this is definitely a scent that takes me back to that time. So next is Narciso Rodriguez for her. And this is the Eau de Toilette. And this is a perfume that if you guys have seen my video with my husband.
But I don't like this one either.
You don't like that one? What's wrong with that one?
It smells like an old bed of flowers.
But this is a perfume that, believe it or not, he helped me pick out for my wedding day. He knew I was hurt when he said that. Like after the video, I'm like, I can't believe you said that. And he's like, well, that's not how it smells on you. I have worn it since then, and he says it doesn't smell like that on me. But it isn't his favorite anymore. Like he says it smells good, but I have better ones in my collection. But every time I wear this reminds me of my wedding. I knew I wanted to create a scent memory for my wedding day. So me and Dennis went shopping together for my wedding day scent because I wanted to like it and for him to like it. And this was almost 10 years ago. If I could redo it now, this probably wouldn't be the scent I would wear. I still enjoy this scent, but you guys already know that I have other favorites. I think now it would be Delina, just because that's my favorite and his favorite at the moment. Back then, almost a decade ago, this was our favorite. And every time I wear this, I remember not only our wedding day, but our staycation honeymoon. We had just bought a house. The house we live in now, a year prior to getting married. So we didn't want to owe anything on our wedding. So our wedding was paid in cash, and we decided to do a 4-day like Universal Studios staycation. And he did surprise me with one night at an expensive hotel here in downtown Orlando. So that's what this perfume reminds me of. It reminds me of that expensive hotel we stayed at, and then it reminds me of our wedding day and just running around, because I did start wearing this scent like when I started going to like my last fitting, and when we did our rehearsal dinner, I started wearing this scent to kind of create the memory around that time. So this definitely takes me back every time I wear it. And now it's kind of a running joke as well. Like now this also reminds me of us giggling in his room, smelling perfumes, and him saying that this one smelled like old flowers. So again, that's Narciso Rodriguez for her. So this is another older scent, and that is Britney Spears Believe. And this perfume reminds me of clubbing with Dennis, probably like somewhere in my 20s. So I did get with Dennis very young. I got with Dennis when I was 22 years old. But if there's one thing me and Dennis did was party. We just partied together. So we do have a group of friends and we would always go out to the club. And perfume was very much like a thing for me. Like, I have different perfumes that remind me of different periods of time when we would go clubbing. And this was Roxy's. He got me this perfume and we were always going to First Friday. He had gotten me this perfume because he said it was loud. So this is like a very strong patchouli scent. And I was a little shocked when I smelled it. Like, I'm like, oh, because Dennis tends to like more girly scents and this one's different. But yeah, every time I smell this, I think of that specific club when we would go First Friday. And again, that is Britney Spears Believe. Okay, so this next scent is Aqua de Joya by Giorgio Armani. And this scent, it reminds me of a lot of things. I think because this was a signature scent, this just reminds me of a time. I got this scent right after our wedding, and I was 29 when I got married. So I wore this, and then I got this one and started wearing this one, and this became my signature scent. So this scent reminds me of my early 30s. This reminds me of like getting into my new job. This reminds me of going more to lounges. So now we're not going clubbing anymore. Now we're going to like 180 Grey Goose Lounge. That's when I wore this scent a lot. So this one reminds me of my early 30s. I just got my house with Dennis. We just got married. That's what this scent reminds me of. I would go up and down with my collection growing and getting smaller. And once this one had gone, I got rid of a lot of like perfumes that I had, and then I wanted a signature scent. I wanted a signature scent in my 30s, and that's what this became. So that is Aqua de Joya by Giorgio Armani. Okay, so another scent that has a memory tied to it is Versace's Bright Crystal, the original and Absolute, because I've already mentioned that these two smell very similar to me. There's just slight differences. But whenever I smell this, it does remind me of Dennis. It was the second perfume he's ever gotten me. He didn't get me this one. He got me the original. But again, they smell so similar. This one's just a little bit more fruity and the original's a little bit more fresh. But anytime I wear the original, which I had like the littlest bit left and it broke, so I do want to pick up another bottle of that. But anytime I wear that scent, it reminds me of the Christmas that he got it for me. We had opened it the 24th because that's when we celebrate, on the 24th. And we had gotten the whole family. So we all rented out like this big, I don't want to say mansion, but it was like a big house that fit, I think, 20 something people, because it was 20 something people that went. And we all chipped in and rented this house. One room had like bunk beds and some rooms had like, you know, the king size. And it was the first time that we ever went somewhere where I didn't have to share the room. Like, me and Dennis got our own little suite off to the side. I opened this on the 24th and we stayed until the 26th. So anytime I wear the original of this scent, I'm reminded of that time when what he went through to get that scent. First of all, I was upset with how much he paid for it. I think he went to Macy's or just a department store to get it. And he got the 30 ml because he said the other ones were way too expensive. I was like, he didn't know about FragranceNet or all these other online discounters. But I told him, always look online. So he knows I love perfume. And that was, again, when I was building up my collection. Like, I had already started building up my collection a few years prior. And I already had like 30 or 40 perfumes. So it just reminds me of that whole time, of him being so proud of purchasing this perfume. And then, like, I wore it again in the mansion, and so now it just reminds me of that time. That perfume has a very special scent memory attached to it. which is why I want to pick up another bottle. I went through that 1 ounce quickly. I only had a little bit left, and then when we were remodeling, it's the one perfume that didn't make it. It did end up breaking, and he said that. He said something's gonna break, and that's what broke for me, was that perfume. And then I wanted to mention this one because I feel like this is what started my perfume obsession, and that is La Via Belle by Lancome. And this is a perfume that I used to smell on my coworker for years, but it was very expensive to me at the time. I want to say it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I would always smell this on her, and I always said I'm gonna own that perfume one day. I was coming up to like 2,000 points at Ulta, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wait, and I'm just gonna get a big bottle for free. Now, I did end up switching this bottle with a smaller one with my mom, but I've been testing this formulation with the newer bottle I got to see if they smell different. So that's why I have this big bottle. But this perfume just reminds me of between her and Carmen, and smelling this, and Carmen always coming in with Carolina Herrera, C Intense. These were 2 ladies in my office that were like perfume heads, and they always smelled good, and they kind of opened my eyes to other scents, I would say, because I always liked more fruity, girly scents like my Viva La Juicies, and I used to get like a lot of different Avon scents. And this was probably like, besides Coco in my early 20s, this was like so adult to me. It was definitely in my 30s when I discovered this scent, and I would just lust over it. But I was very picky about spending money on perfumes at that time. This was before YouTube.
Look at you now!
But anytime I smell that, it just kind of reminds me of like this perfume obsession that I started forming. Okay, so this next one is a cologne, and I keep saying perfume. I've refilmed this several times. So if I say perfume, I mean cologne. But this is Liz Claiborne's Sport. And this is a cologne that Dennis has been wearing since, I don't even know if he wore it in high school, but he's been wearing it throughout our whole entire relationship. Marriage, we're going on 17 years. And he always goes back to this cologne. So Dennis is one that will pick up, you know, colognes that he sees like at TJ Maxx or Marshalls or Ross. He's not one to spend a lot on cologne. He loves cologne. He will not leave the house without cologne, but he's very much a signature scent kind of guy. So he'll wear this one like to work every day, and then he'll have a special one like to go to the club or out. Because again, we're the couple that goes out for sure. This is a scent that doesn't seem like much. It only costs like $15, anywhere from $15 to $20. But this scent on Dennis is, he's always had girls stop and ask what he's wearing. Even guys have asked him what he's wearing. This is a cologne that for whatever reason on his body, it smells edible. Like he can wear as many colognes as he wants to. This is Dennis. He'll leave this scent like in his clothes, like if I'm washing his clothes, and it's just, this is Dennis. He has a backup of this, but it's not open, so I didn't want to open it. But this is my husband in a bottle. So again, that is Liz Claiborne Sport. And anytime I smell this, it's just him. It's his signature scent. So those are my memorable perfumes, and I'm sure there's plenty. I'm creating memories with a lot of what's behind me, but these are all new to my collection. It's a little harder now to create scent memories. In 2020, I was home a lot just testing out perfumes. So right now, I wanted to pick perfumes that were prior to 2020, just because, again, I don't feel like any of these just yet. I have memories attached to them. So those are my memorable perfumes. Those are my perfumes where I can scent my heart out. Let me know in the comments below, what are some of your memorable perfumes? What are perfumes that you have like a strong memory attached to them? But that will do it for today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.